Yeah, one's in Halifax, one in Concord. One on the.
Good, we're live, thank you. Geraldine, you have your agenda with you?
I do.
It is Wednesday, January the 17th at 6 o'clock. I will call the meeting to order. Geraldine, would you please start us off with the land acknowledgement?
I would just like for all of us to recall that we are in the unceded and surrendered land of the Mi'kmaq people. And as such, we are all treaty people with responsibilities to each other and to this land.
Thank you very much, Geraldine. Now, Heather, is there anybody on Zoom who wishes to speak? There is not.
What, oh, I see, yeah, they can say so right there.
There will be no public forum there. The agenda, are there any additions to the agenda? May I have a motion, please, then to approve the agenda?
I'm making my
Thank you, Laura.
One second.
Second, sorry, Randy, thank you. Meeting minutes. Wednesday, December 13th, 2023. Are there any errors or corrections? Yes,
If I
Geraldine.
may, there's no error or correction, but I want to bring to the attention that this is my responsibility. I was the only person who opposed the motion. But I didn't oppose the concept of the motion. I only opposed the administrative effects of it. And if I wanted in the minutes, I should have had the good sense to say so. And I will in the future.
Thank you, Geraldine. That clear, Heather? And the printed copies of the minutes that we received shows item 9.3 as being the journalist from Ottawa being Nigel Baker, but he is in fact Liam. And
And corrected.
Yeah, mine is.
Yeah, it looks like it's been scratched out and corrected on mine.
I scratched my notes, yes.
I did that online.
Okay, but it was corrected online.
Excellent.
So, may I please have a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting? Thank you, Gloria. Second, thank you, Laura. All those in favor? I carried. I think I forgot to ask if everybody was in favor of the approval of the agenda. I beg your pardon.
Yep. I agree.
If you don't hear anybody screaming.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
You did, because there was a motion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she made the motion and then.
Yes, but I don't think all in favor.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
All right, so we have business arising, no business arising. Correspondence 6.1 is communities in bloom. Would you like to speak to that?
I would, so. I understand that they've sent communications before, the reason I thought it probably still had value to put here. Was mostly because Communities in Bloom of Pugwash was one of the presenters at the Association of Nova Scotia Villages that the three of us attended in October. And their organization in Pugwash is doing really remarkable things in terms of beautification and visitation. So it's far beyond gardening. So like they're almost taking they're almost doing some of the role that you might anticipate a board of trade.
And garden, I had
Yeah,
a flyer
and
and I left it
and
to hurry, I
yeah.
forgot it, I had it from the meeting.
So not sure if there's anything we might want to do with that. To see if that's something we might want to develop here. Or work with the merchants and the garden club in some respect, but we wanted to at least put that out there for you to think about.
Yes, Laura.
Perhaps I found they were very interesting, but it's obviously a very active group. And there's the volunteers are getting pretty stretched here, but I think it would be worthwhile inviting one or two, because they had some pretty perky volunteers. If somebody wanted to come, and I don't know if we're allowed to pay for them to stay at the Mecklenburg one night or something, it's a long drive.
Or they could come on Zoom.
Yeah, just to tell us about their.
Yes, Geraldine?
As I read it, and I had been involved with this when I lived in Lunenburg. It seems to me that it might be wider than the village, that we might want to partner if we were thinking of this with MODC and certainly with the Garden Club and maybe even Historical Society, because they have a historical section. They've got a lot of environmental implications. I just feel like it may be bigger
That's a good idea.
than the village.
Heather, were they the ones that counted all the trees?
They also put out those artworks that were all.
Oh, yeah, that was
Wash, and those
fantastic,
are
yeah.
great. Um,
They did a
There's a
tree
number.
survey and counted
Yeah,
all the elms, the maples, the everything. It was actually very interesting. And they got students from Dow or NASCA or agricultural school or something.
I think there's huge potential in it, and I really lean toward the environmental aspects of it especially. But I don't think it's something that we as a commission could really do as a sole.
No, I think,
trader.
oh,
I
would
think
almost
we
be
need
an
to look at
umbrella.
partnership.
yeah.
Okay, I have made some notes. I know that the cost.
Yeah.
Yes.
$495 for a population of 1,001 to 5,000.
I noted also that we would be obligated to provide lodging for 1 or 2 nights for 2 judges. That we would have to pay a registration fee based on population. I hear what you all are saying, and I believe that the sustainability of the project would outweigh or be more important, slightly more important than the color orange, even though the color orange is
This year's covered.
important, but it is this year's color. For the reason every child matters. I think it might be something that the garden club could be interested in pursuing, but the sustainability of the planting for me is what is important. And that has ramifications on our hanging baskets and the color purple. And the fact that the merchants in the village of Chester do their own thing with regard to planting. And so
Perhaps it needs a longer lead time. In other words, might we consider it as a longer term project, perhaps the next year following, and talk to other groups that.
that makes sense, Geraldine, thank you. It would be nice if we could build up a collaboration,
Yeah,
not just the village itself.
I think there's potential there, but I think that the deadline for February the 29th is too fast for us to really get going for this year.
I agree.
But perhaps one of us would like to take a lead with staff to see if we can do some work on it.
Yes, Heather.
I just wanted to let you know that there is a new community economic development officer at the municipality. I had a meeting with her on Monday. She would like to come and meet you all, hopefully at the February meeting. So there may be something there as she's getting her feet wet, that might be something worth discussing with her as well.
Yes.
Good. Thank you. All right, so we will discuss this further at a later meeting. Thank you. The Royal Canadian Air Force 100th anniversary, 6.2.
Do we have any blue light bulbs?
Well,
Are they Air Force blue? That's different than Christmas ball.
yes, the correspondence from Aaron Niles. I've made some notes on this. What is your opinion on supporting the 100th anniversary of the Royal Canadian Air Force?
I'm all in.
Randy?
I'm biased. My father was Air Force for
Yeah.
30 years.
Yes.
My dead husband was in
Yeah.
the Air Force during World War II, so
I'm
I'm biased
not
too.
certain that how we're supposed to do
I
anything.
think you're just supposed to put
Just
blue
hang on
lights
a
Something out
second.
here.
Laura, what do you
Yeah.
feel?
Either way, my
Yeah.
dad was in the Air Force 2 years, he wouldn't
Alright.
care. It would-
Either way.
All right. I was thinking that, yes, I think we should support the Royal Canadian Air Force in their 100th anniversary celebration. I think it's entirely possible that we could, the village could purchase Air Force blue bulbs.
Yeah, I don't know where we're gonna get
What
such
we
a thing.
do with put them in all of our,
To screw them into the light receptacles.
how many? Every one of them?
Like street lights, you mean, or house light?
No, the house lights
Oh, okay.
to, I guess.
You mean at the outside?
Yes, Heather.
Yeah, we could do something as simple as string lights around the window here in the office.
That's good. That's a
and-
better idea.
If we can get the right color
Yeah,
box.
I already did a little hunt through Canadian Tire and Home Hardware, and it looks like we can get some.
And do
little
they,
lights.
do they actually have blue light bulbs called Air Force Blue?
They don't, but they have blue.
I have blue lights.
And there's also a possibility that if say we wanted to put some blue floodlight on the monument down at
Yeah,
Parade
that's,
Square,
I like
Yeah.
that.
we can get
Is
a
there
couple
power
that just
down
go into the ground, and there can be. There's
Yeah,
power down there that they fire up for the Christmas tree, so.
Yeah,
And we can get some blue
that's a good
bulbs to do
idea.
that, so.
Yeah.
I think that should, I mean,
And can we put something on the front of this building?
Yeah,
No.
I would suggest the rope lights and
Just
maybe
the
just a
rope lights?
sign to explain what they are, put
Okay.
up some posts.
The problem with floodlights here in the village proper, Pleasant Street, is where we plug them in. And who do you trip?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to deposit,
Right.
yeah. Yeah, I think all your suggestions are excellent, Heather, thank you.
You could ask,
It would require a little purchase, probably not more than 150 to get the bits and pieces we need, if that works for everything.
Now, what is the date of this? April 1st. The
April
Chester
Fool's Day.
merchants are having their regular monthly meeting. The first. I think is it Thursday now or Wednesday?
I think they're Thursday mornings.
Okay.
Is it? I can't.
It's
not sure which
get the
week.
date in February. So we can bring that discussion up with them. Yes, Randy?
I think we have to be a little careful, biased as I am. There are some people who are anti-militaristic and might not be interested in seeing that. I'm thinking about publicizing it on the website maybe, or something. I don't know who got this letter, just the MODC and us, or who would have gotten it. But they seem to be-
A village chest.
Yeah, they seem to be hitting the
Probably all. of these.
municipal government things.
But-
And if other people knew of it, like the merchants,
Mhm.
they might be willing to do it, but there are some who are not going to be. They're always, I don't want to support the military and I don't want to
That's
do
okay.
this and that.
I mean-
No, I don't, but you have to be a little careful how hard you push, is what I'm saying.
But we could,
Yes.
oops,
Yes,
we
go
could
ahead.
just
ask,
ask.
ask that the public, if they'd like to put blue light bulbs or
Yeah.
blue light up in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, we just
The
say,
windows.
if you
Yeah.
agree, put a blue light in your
If you
window.
don't,
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So are we gonna put that on the website or something?
I think we would put it on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that might be better.
Would you like to proceed with actually putting up lights or
Yes,
just an
yes,
and
application?
you need a motion. for
Is it
that,
consensus
spending
thing
money?
or what?
I think consensus is fine.
Consensus is good, excellent.
Go for it. And we have a lovely letter from Gordon Tate of the Allen Health Center. It was very, very nice of him to write. And I didn't realize that Gord was the board chair. And I'm wondering if it's the same Gord Tate from the municipality.
It is.
How many
It is.
board seats can there be in one village?
I
Excellent.
think Jeff is the one back there.
He's in treasurer.
Excellent. Thank you, Gordon, for your correspondence.
Yes,
Very kind and thoughtful of you.
it is nice.
And now we move on to reports, Heather.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. So for my activity report, there always is a little bit of overlap between activity and finance, so you'll see. We received an unexpected approval on December 11th for a federal grant application that interim clerk treasurer Jeff Conrad submitted in the fall of 2022. So we're looking at well over a year.
Government.
The Enabling Accessibility Fund. The grant provides $100,000 of funding committed to accessibility retrofits to the pool, including an entrance ramp and a pool lift. The federal and provincial grant project reports on the pool repair, washroom retrofits and pool retrofits are all due in 2025. So those project monies will be deferred to the next fiscal year because that's when most of the activity will happen. So
150 is already on it now.
it is, but
But
we're
that's a
able,
placeholder,
we're
yeah.
able to put that into deferred, we checked with that once.
So just to clarify, that means all activity will take place in 2025? Okay,
Well, 24, 25, and a little into 25, 26.
okay,
But
thank you.
I've confirmed with both of those granting bodies
Yeah.
that the timeline is fine. So,
That's
yeah,
important.
it is. The application to Canada's Summer Jobs was completed by the January 10th deadline, asking for 3 lifeguard positions, 1 senior and 2 regular. Well, probably know when we hear. EHS roof. Requests for quotes went out just after the holidays to several local suppliers to get cost estimates for both shingle and metal roof replacements for the EHS building. So we were still awaiting some costs, but a few things have come in. Let's pass those around.
Yeah.
So 5 responses have now come in. There are a couple more I haven't heard back
I
from.
think I kept 2, Nancy.
I think that's good. We get all-
So- According to the village purchasing policy, this solicitation should have been tendered because it's over the threshold of 10,000, but given the time constraints, we're able to have that bit of wiggle room. So I would recommend that the multiple quotations we're receiving is enough of a basis to make a decision. So in terms of the finance, there is currently approximately 3,000 remaining in the maintenance budget for 23-24. And a planned deposit of 11,156 to the EMS reserve that has not been made yet. And that could be deferred to pay for the work. My recommendation would actually be to go with Leading Edge for a shingle roof because they're able to do it the soonest. And it's most cost effective in that we can accommodate the cost within our current budget without.
He
needing to dip
recommends
into-
spring.
He said spring is always better because they have a longer span, but if they have a stretch of decent weather for a few days, they can do it.
The shingles, if it's too cold, the shingles become brittle. And then you end up with, issues going forward. Yes, Geraldine.
I do recognize the shingles are certainly more cost effective in the short term.
Yes, but
Is
long
the-
term, they're useless.
I know, I think a metal roof, if we're looking at this in longer term, might be more.
I had our bakery done, which is a big building by walls. They came Saturday at 10 a.m. And Sunday at 3 p.m. they left, finished. My employees didn't even know that I had a roof put on. They were 3 men who never saw the likes of it. They
And
were
who
so
did this?
walls.
So
Cement
walls, I think there's some things missing out of their quote, so I've gone back to them to check. They're not available till June, July.
Well, we can always.
Rhubarth is
Yeah,
available.
Tarp the damn
Yeah.
thing.
Rhubarth quote I thought was interesting because they're available in May, but he said they could pull off the shingles now and put a membrane over it to protect it from any leakage and then do the full installation in the spring.
Now, is that,
That's the gentleman,
Barry?
that's the company who did the house on Central Avenue.
Yes.
Central Street rather, that we looked at before.
Well, I think Heather is very clear that you picked up on they missed something because they can't be that much different from. the
Yeah,
other
I
two
think that
metal
unlikely,
coats.
and some of the things they said that weren't included struck me as things that
Okay.
would need to be included,
So
so.
they're $10,000.
Yeah, I've gone back to them to just have that.
They do have a sterling reputation.
Yeah.
And they are expensive, no question about it.
Has-
Walls,
Thank you.
they're a Mennonite group.
Mhm.
And all the men, I think, are Mennonites
Yeah.
too, the whole gang. And they're very conscientious about doing their work the way they're
Just
supposed to
show
do
up and
it.
they work.
And they are hideously expensive, but I've never heard a complaint about
And
it.
Laura,
Yeah.
did you have your basement replaced with a metal roof?
Yeah, they did. That's all they do is metal roofing. They have a beautiful building in like Maitland, sort of between.
Yeah, it's over the way there, yes.
Oh,
on
what
the-
is
Do
the
you
other-
have any photographs of it, do you?
No, I can
Your roof.
probably do.
And one of the other organizations on here, Interlock, I believe they're the ones who did the fire station roof, so they've done some work for us in the past.
Well, it's just the metal roofs are, even though they're more expensive to
Yeah.
start with, they,
It's
I mean,
overpriced.
you practically get a lifetime guarantee, you know?
I would say that the interlock roofing system would not be my first choice, as I've only heard not third hand, that you cannot go on the roof of the fire station. That will
Yes,
ruin the warranty and it just cannot be done. So
any
if there
metal
are
roof will have.
repairs that have to be made for whatever reason, I don't want the prohibition of
But you can't go on the
being
roof.
on the roof.
You mean that destroys the guarantee?
Yeah.
Here's a question. In 3 years, when we have a new fire hall, or 4 years. Is there any chance that God knows what will happen with the fire station? Will EHS continue to be there potentially? Like, is there any potential change? Down the road?
You're thinking.
When the fire department is moved, might they wanna move? Or, I mean, is it up to us where they are?
It's up to the emergency
Okay.
services people, whether they want to continue renting in that building.
Or just a thought, they're
Yeah.
not gonna go with the fire department
No,
or anything.
no.
Okay,
What was the guarantee with your roof?
I think it's like a lifetime
That's
guarantee
what I
or something.
thought, yeah.
Now,
I would-
to
I
be,
believe
our
heavily
building is big,
toward
but
that.
it's pretty simple, right? It's just, it's not multiple roofs and I don't know what their
Yeah.
roof is. But they probably could do,
It's here, there's just a small cupola. And then a peak
yeah,
roof,
probably be done in a day or two.
The Chester cupola.
yeah.
Yeah, I would lean heavily toward, the metal roof and,
Maybe you can confirm, Heather, like you say.
Yeah,
but,
I wanna hear back from them yet.
and see if they can protect the roof in the meantime.
Well-
Randy, you wanted to say something?
Yes, I wanted to say that perhaps you could put into your further conversations with Walls.
Mhm.
Are you able to go on their roof and
Yeah.
walk around or do whatever is necessary?
Excellent question.
I thought about it for my own house. But-
They are the furthest out though, they're July.
Yes, no, I understand, but I'd
Yeah,
rather
maybe
have
they
it
can
done
do
by
some
the
interim
by the
protection.
best, you know what I mean, rather than, I don't know these other guys, I can't say they're not as good. But everything I've seen, I actually looked at their online presence and everybody they work for, now mind you, obviously, they're not gonna put in bad
Yeah.
recommend. But they clean up after themselves well and all, you know,
They
everybody,
took, and the thing is, you don't get the nails, the shingle
Yeah.
roofs, you know, everyone's
Yeah.
getting a flat tire.
Yeah.
There was, when they were gone at 3 PM Sunday, there was not a shred of evidence.
if they'd ever been, to
Yeah.
me, that speaks of,
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not,
Of their
obviously not in the
feelings.
market for roofs, but even I have heard that they have a good reputation.
is there anything coming up through like a chimney or anything of that nature on that roof?
There is the little,
Yeah, not the couple of, but
Well,
no,
we had 4 chimneys at the bakery.
yeah,
That's what they got.
I've always wondered how they deal with chimneys.
each of
Existing
each of the
chimneys,
people
you
who
know?
quoted did go and visit the site to
Yeah.
check it out. Or they quoted, so
Who were this?
each of them,
All
Each
of them.
yeah, they all came and had a look at it.
Coal bill would have been expensive, so.
Well, yeah, but they again have a pretty good reputation.
Oh,
Work.
excellent. Oh, yeah, excellent.
Well, Heather, if you wouldn't mind poking Mr. Wool and Mr. Dunlop. And find out.
Those follow-up questions.
Also. Does it make any sense? To remove the shingles now and put a sealant on it?
How bad is the leakage? Really bad?
I don't know if they have a leakage, it was just many shingles came off on one of the big storms. I never heard.
That's what happened to me, yeah,
Yeah,
my
That
garage.
happened down here at the rental property.
It may
too.
not,
There's no-
apparently
there's no
that area
leak
has been
place.
patched a few times, so.
I think it was fun to take it off.
And modern shingles, if you're talking about shingles, are a tougher thing than the old asphalt shingles used to be. They're
They
made
go
of
by
some kind
that.
of no, but generally speaking. They're made of like things with fiberglass interwoven into them,
They're
things
still
like
not
that.
gonna be. as
Oh,
good
no,
as-
I totally agree, metal's the way to go. You know, but I mean, who's gonna do it, that's another.
But I can follow up with you all with
Hmm.
further information later.
Excellent.
That'd be great,
Thank you very
yeah.
much.
Yeah.
Carrying on, so street lights, replacements for the 5 decorative street lights have been ordered. Black McDonald retested the poles, they tested them last year, I asked them to retest them to make sure that they are getting power and that it is a burnout. There is a 5 to 6 week lead time on ordering, and yes, the replacements are a lot.
Why did they?
$9,000.
Are we going to have them burn out again in 5 years?
I
or
don't
what
know.
is the problem?
Just a minute there, Geraldine. These LED lights. Were put in
11.
2011?
well. So when you cost average out. It's not a whole lot for on an
And
annual
I did
basis.
look for Black and McDonald have done the work for the village for
Hmm.
some time. And I did go down the path of looking at an alternate supplier and it was actually higher, so. I think it is what it is.
A couple of their employees live in the village, Black and
Yes.
McDonald's, I think. that was
Yes.
the-
I'm just interested in what would be an average lifespan for this kind of a street light. I mean, 2011 is not that long ago for something as substantial as infrastructure.
I don't know what date those were in.
That's an interesting.
Well, that was one, only.
One.
Yeah, somebody ran into one of them and.
Well,
yeah,
That's definitely
Another story,
explainable.
yeah.
It's been over 2 or 3 years that they've been burnt out because we had no lights down there and.
Yeah, there was 2 out and there was 3 out and now there's 5.
Yeah.
So
I'm not objecting to replacing them, but I would like them to be replaced with something that would last perhaps longer than 10 years.
I did look into having all 8 of them changed to something that we could. Change the fixture, but each one would still cost about the same. So it really came down to, do we want to pay for 5 or do we want to pay for 8?
Right.
So are we talking about the lamps only or the lamp post and the
It's-
whole work?
No, the head, the head piece.
Okay,
The
so it's,
fixture on the top.
okay,
Yeah,
so
so
basically
it's all one unit.
that's decorative or something as well to match the lamp posts, I would assume. So basically, if this needs to be, you can't fix them. Like, in other words, you gotta spend like $1.50 every time you gotta change the bulbs, is that basically
We
what you're
can't
saying?
change the bulbs in that design, yeah,
Yeah, so it's because of the way it was made to look oldie and.
Yeah.
Gaslight.
the oldie
We'll
timey.
be lighting it with the.
Yeah,
Every
the
night we'll hire
gaslighters.
you, that'll be you.
No, I guess my question basically was, are we gonna face this again? Next time one of them burns out, or I guess we will, but I'm like Geraldine, an LED should last longer than that. What is making it different? Than a LED in, there or somewhere else? Is it because they're weather exposed or?
I can ask the manufacturer if they have any
Yeah.
explanation.
Yeah, I'm definitely not opposing
No.
fixing them, because I think
because-
it's important for the village, but I would like the questions asked if there's, for instance, suppose it costs us an extra $200 but the fixture would last the next.
Get a heavy
5
duty
years,
lamp or something
know.
put into it.
I just think the questions were asking, that's all.
All right, okay, so the lights themselves at 1950 over 13 years works out to be $150 a year.
It's not so bad once you split it up.
When you amortize it, yeah.
Yes.
But still, yeah.
Yeah,
that
I
these
was
should last.
considering replacing all 8 with something that would be easier to work with, but the price to do that just was a lot.
So the quoted price is only for the 4 or whatever that are out right now, is that it?
That's for each one of the 5,
5 that are out, how many are there altogether?
8.
No,
I mean, one almost thinks you might just about
Do
replace
them
all
all.
eight.
That was kind of what I was thinking initially, but it's so much each
I know.
fixture that,
yeah,
but you know, up to you. If you
and watch,
if you'd
those
like
2
to
will
do
go
all
down
8.
as soon as we're done with these.
Yeah, probably. It took us so long just to get the quotes for this.
From Black and McDonald.
Yeah. Well, sorry to, put us.
Okay, no, I would like
On
an
that
explanation
discussion.
too. Seems like a
And
lot.
that's big.
The Association of Nova Scotia Villages has been discussing adding a part-time staff person to allow the group to maintain consistent advocacy with the province, as well as taking some administrative load off of the staff and elected officials who volunteer their time. So this is just a little heads up from the last board meeting. So the commission can expect a letter to member villages to explore further. So there would be some contribution required from all the membership. But I can't imagine it would be
Can't be that
particularly
much.
onerous.
Yeah.
But just so that we're aware that that's in discussion, records management, both myself and Maxine attended a training workshop on records management from Amon's. Was that 2 weeks ago? 8.5 ago? The village's 2019 records management and destruction policy commits us to following the AMAN's records management manual for classification of documents, which has not been fully implemented. This applies to both paper and digital records of the village. So that's a little project we'll be chipping away at some point.
And what does it involve?
It's more of an organizational system. So
So
we're,
it's almost like Dewey. Like the
yeah,
library
like that
system.
certain types of documents are
Yeah.
categorized in certain ways, and certain types of documents, like minutes, for example, are kept forever. They're kept active for 6 years, and then they go into an archive. Other types of documents are able to be destroyed. So depending on the document.
Yeah,
So
that's definitely a long term.
that'll be,
project.
yeah, that'll be a chipping away at kind of thing. Well, that is it for that piece, although like I say, bit of overlap. Financial report, the December 2023 bank statement has been reconciled per the summary report attached. We started the month with 622,111 in the bank and ended with 524,863. The 2023-24 Q4 tax revenue advance was received on January 4th. So this will not show up in the financial statement that we're going to go through in a little bit. And that was the final advance installment for the year. There's usually a piece right at the end of the fiscal year in the spring that they'll send us any little bits.
Yeah.
Differentials.
When they give us the report of the tax rebates and so on. Village and fire bank accounts, a meeting is scheduled with Scotiabank the end of this month to begin the process of transferring fire department funds to a separate account. I anticipate this will be completed in early February. And then I just had a recap from the previous report of how that's getting split out.
Yeah.
Budget variance report is attached for review, and just to let you know that budget preparation is underway. And I was saying here that we recommend scheduling a committee of the whole meeting, but now we've done that for January 31st to go through the draft budget in detail for your comments and revisions. And then once I can integrate that, then we'll bring it to the next, hopefully the next meeting if we can be quick about it. for approval. The draft fire budget will be shared with the public at the Chester Fire Service Committee's annual public meeting on February 15th. Then brought to the Village Commission and Municipal Council for approval when completed. And there's a process that we're undergoing with the committee. We've already done the meeting with the fire department and the committee treasurer to do the first kick. And we're gonna meet with the full committee, and so there's a few steps within the committee before it comes to the public and you folks.
Is the fire committee meeting already scheduled?
The 15th, the February 15th,
And when and where is it?
the AGM, it's February 15th at 6:30.
Fire hall?
And no, it's St. Stephen's.
I just wanted to get in my calendar, that's all.
Who's
There'll
the,
be ads going out about that in,
who's the
weeks in
treasurer?
advance.
Heather?
Kirk.
Kirk.
Well,
Oh, okay, yeah.
he's been great, had a couple meetings with him on the.
He has a lot of experience.
Yeah,
Worked for the big grocery chains.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had a client in the big grocery chain, so we
Yeah.
a little bit about that, anyway,
Is he retired?
he is.
Yeah, I figured.
Okay, so, I guess I should just go back and see, does anyone have any questions about the reconcile? No, okay. Good. All right, so the budget report. So I'll just briefly go through it, just touching on the items where there were notes. So item number 1, the provincial grant for the Lido was not in the original budget. That was approved March 8th. And I mentioned just a little bit earlier that those 2 grants will actually be moved into deferred revenue so that they can carry over next year. Another unanticipated grant was received for the Lido. This is the one. But it hadn't shown up as of Q3, so that'll be reflected in the next report.
Sorry, what page are you on now?
Sorry, on page 21, just the revenue page of for the village. Any questions
Explain
about
two
revenue?
notes.
Okay,
Oh, you're referring to the lifeguard grant.
Hmm,
yeah, and the
Mhm.
federal grants. Okay, and now into the village expenses, a couple of items there, again, low income and no profit, we will get that information at the end of the fiscal year from the municipality.
two.
What you don't have in your copy, but is on here, is the village office rent. I've got a little asterisk there because we realized when we were meeting
Where
about,
are you?
sorry, page 22.
22.
Line item?
5430. We were talking about this a little ahead of the meeting, but I should recap. During the fire budget meeting we had on Monday, we found a couple of things that hadn't been split correctly, so there's a portion of the village rent that is in the overhead for the fire department, but there's too much. So we've moved it back. So that's already been done, but just wasn't time to run in the report.
So these numbers are or are not accurate?
This one number is not accurate. There's some that's in the fire overhead that has been moved over here.
When you get to where
It's
what it should be,
approximately,
can you send it to us?
yep, it's approximately 3,000 or 4,000.
So
Take
this
it to
number is
rent.
going up 3,000 or 4,000 or down 3,000 or
Up.
4,000?
This number's going up. Which is why it's showing that 60% is unspent because it wasn't allocated in the right spot. And then item 5.
When do we get those tax exemptions?
which-
Low income property tax and nonprofit tax.
Those are the reports that we get from the municipality
Yeah,
at
but-
the end of the
What
fiscal
is your
year.
line item there?
5431, 5432, page 22.
Oh, at the top.
Yeah, we get that in a report from the
There's no,
municipality.
yeah, I realized that it will come, but when is what I was.
at the end of the fiscal year.
Oh, okay.
They always send a final report with that breakdown and.
So we don't actually know at this point whether they're within budget or whatever, but no, they should be. I know what.
I'm sure we're.
Yeah, we
fine.
granted not very many, so yeah,
Well, we guessed.
should be fine, yeah.
Yeah, I would think we're good there. One of the other notes against office supplies,
This is 5445.
correct.
Yeah.
Currently I'm building our new budget, and as part of that, I've got several years worth lined up so I can see patterns. So this is not, it looks like the budget was reduced last year from a higher level that it was in previous years. Is this amount, it's gone up some. But yes, the cost of supplies, like everything else, has increased sharply. It was budgeted at 3,000 last year. And will likely need to go up to that again next year, but just so. You know, there's not like, we went through it and there's nothing out of the ordinary. And then the next one I have is just that note about, that's my RSP, that we'll see that on Q4. So then we start to see the new insurance costs. So these are one and done, we won't see anything further from these, so.
Why, sorry for jumping on the gun a bit, but why is the liability and property insurance under 5490 moderately above budget? Whereas on the fire side with the committee, it's remarkably.
Because there was never any liability on the fire side. It was all on the commission. So, basically, where the fire department was kind of a sub on our policy. There were certain items that they didn't need to have coverage on, but because they're a separate entity, they do. So. The biggest ticket with them is the various levels of liability insurance. And criminal insurance, and so it's all of this, get the book if you'd like to break down. But ours just went up moderately because the prices always go up a little bit every year, but the coverage is the same for us. But it had to be a brand new policy for fire, so it's essentially
So
repeated
that
over there.
gives them an opportunity to ding us.
Yeah, insurance people are very good at that.
Yeah, well, it's a separate corporate entity, so they have to have a separate policy.
Right. Sorry,
Yeah,
I'll keep my mouth shut.
no, it's
We can
okay.
only get dinged once
Yeah,
that way, and then it's their problem, the fire committee.
yeah,
after
our
that.
policy has come down a little bit, and it will come down more because. As you'll see, as we go through, there's some things that, right. So cyber insurance,
Yeah.
that's that new one we added,
But in the end, we're keeping fire insurance anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
We share the cost with the municipality.
the fire station co-insurance, this should be going away, or most of it should. This comes back to that whole business of there was a gap of about 2 weeks between when the insurance had to renew and when the incorporation was completed. So a bunch of things for the fire had to be reinsured under the village and then moved over. So there's a period of time that is stuck with us. So this is all the vehicles. We don't have any vehicles. So I had a call with them just to make sure that this was still coming off, and they're still waiting for that back from Intact, but yes, this should be coming off for most of it.
We'll get it back.
Yes.
Oh,
I'm gonna be.
well,
I'm very tired of this with them, anyway. We'll get there. And then again, office equipment and programs, that includes the AV upgrade.
Well, let's talk about that. I
Yes.
see that it is over budget by $3,188. But we approved up to $5,000. How did that happen?
That it's under budget from what we.
It's over budget.
The commission approved an additional 5,000 on top of the budget. for that line item to do the AV purchases. Which didn't come to as much as we were expecting anyway, so that's a good thing.
So the budget was 4,500 plus 5,000.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, streetlights, that's power. Streetlight maintenance, we have 5,000 in the budget and we know now it'll be closer to 10 when we get the final bill, so there's that. And we'll see if we need to pull that from the operating reserve, depending on where everything else is needed out. Beautification, these are all completed now, so these figures won't change. Tourism attraction, we still haven't gone forward with the piece now, although we've approved something, that was the one. The initial suppliers gone out of business and we were getting some alternatives, but I haven't heard back.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, sorry, the initial signs that we looked at, that material that we wanted alternatives, the people who make those signs have gone out of business in the interim. So the people I was dealing with have to find some other suppliers, so waiting to hear back from them about that. to bring you some new costs.
Have you looked at metal line
No, not so far.
and cupboards? I think they are.
Okay, thank you. I will check them out.
And what about Dan Pittman?
I haven't talked to Dan. Okay. I'll hopefully should have an update on that project at the next meeting.
Okay.
Okay, so operations, the compost collection, again, these are all pretty much done. Except for the waste removal, which is still ongoing. That's that bin, that big bin outside the fire hall, but
How come the compost was so much more than the budget?
it's just what they charged. That was
There
the
were,
actual.
Fuel surcharges on top.
I think we gotta up that in the next
Yeah.
budget.
Well, obviously, yeah.
That and insurance.
Fuel surcharge.
The chillers, yeah,
Now that I've managed to get. those
We also
words
went
out
a
of my
little
mind.
later, I think.
As
yeah.
We
end of
could cut back
September,
a couple
I think.
weeks.
when we go to have that committee of the whole meeting, like something like that, it goes right now from the beginning of June to the end of September. You might want to just shrink it a wee bit either end, see, that'll shrink it. Start maybe
Time-wise.
2 weeks later and 2
Oh,
weeks
yes,
earlier,
yes.
so that it's, so those are all things to talk about at the budget meeting. And waste removal too, that is that big bin at the fire hall that. I think it's gone around a few times whether to maintain that.
So property maintenance and landscaping, is that a done deal now, or is there more to come?
There'll probably be more to come with that, because that includes things like.
Snow
like
plows and
removal.
such.
Yeah,
So we might go over on that as well.
yeah, so we'll see how we do.
Okay,
So far, there hasn't been much snow, so.
Yeah, yeah.
We're gonna be all right.
Cross your fingers.
However, there is a tree limb down in. What's the Jiglot Park?
Yeah,
yeah, I thought that was cut up, somebody cut it up.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
done
Did they
yesterday.
put it up already?
Yeah.
Okay.
We won't.
Yeah.
it'll send us one.
I
So
looked
that'll
yesterday and it
be in the
wasn't
gym
done.
lot maintenance line, we'll see that.
Yeah, it seemed to be cut up. I went by today, maybe, or something that was
I think it
cut
was
up,
yesterday.
or something, yeah.
So EMC, maintenance and repairs, well, we've had that conversation. Their insurance is actually down a little bit, so that's good. And taxes was up a little bit, so I'm gonna talk to the municipality and see if I can get better. Estimates on what those include. I did a chart breaking down. What some of those costs are per property, so we got our property assessments. Anywho. I keep sliding into budget conversation because I've spent so much time with it lately. So Jiglot, and we just talked about that. So the Lido pool, this is the note we had about the preliminary estimate from 2019, put this work at 320K. However, it is anticipated that the scale can be adjusted. This figure is a placeholder to match the funding received. Further funding should enable the full accessibility retrofits, and we know we got that, and that project will extend into 2025. And then Lido Insurance came in a little under budget, which is nice.
That's also done for the year.
That's done for the year. Yeah. I still don't know yet whether some of the maintenance work might happen in the spring. I don't know yet. I don't have dates. Okay, and then we have our planned reserve deposits, so we can consider how things are looking there once we get closer to the end of the quarter. Like the EMS deposit, we may not do that because we use it for the actual work. And depending on which one we do, we may have to, again, dip into the operating reserve.
Backing up just a little bit, did we get squared up with the yacht club with the security and all that? Was that all?
Oh,
Yeah, that
Yep.
was all good.
yeah, that's great. I think that worked really well, and we'll
That's 59.
Do it again.
Yeah.
so that's the bottom of that. Does anyone have any other questions that I haven't already flagged? I won't go into as much detail through fire with this.
No, I mean, yeah. I'm usually the one that has to come up with all the, but you've covered it pretty well.
Okay.
You've learned my methods.
What things are is?
And you want that to pass, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's really good, Heather. Congratulations. You're picking out all the potential issue areas, isn't it? Ah, yeah, this is fun.
Okay, so then with fire department, on the revenue side, the only note I have there is against the extraordinary revenue to explain what it was. And that is there was a donation to cover
The bear
the
paw?
bear paw
Yeah.
is what's in the actual. The amount in the budget was from a training grant that was anticipated, but I don't think we've seen that. So. Okay, so we'll go down to expenses. And so this little asterisk here against line item 5250, the overhead, that's the other rents that I was talking about that needs to get moved back over to the village. It's meant to be divided 75-25, so there was too much on the fire side. I think it used to be 50-50. Supposed to be 60-40.
For us to them or them to us? Ooh.
So,
Which was highway robbery.
yeah. So
Hmm.
when Jeff did this last budget, it was 75-25, but the system was still allocated differently, so we caught that. We're fixing it. And then this item 5473, fire service committee overhead, that's not really overhead, that's the liability insurance for them. Ding, ding. So that'll be a new line item for next year's budget. And then the next two,
Sorry, Heather,
yeah,
to interrupt, 5174. The actual expenses for the firefighters banquet of 153.17.
I asked Lena, yes, I can, so I asked Cody about that when we were working on
That's
the
the
budget.
cheapest banquet I've ever seen.
Actually, it's the Legion made it.
Yes,
Uh,
the Legion.
The Legion
Donated.
donated, yeah,
God love them. They probably
Well,
have
I
enough
think
to
we
look
should
at.
write the Legion.
yeah, I mean, I'm sure they already have, because that was back in April, but we didn't realize that it happened.
Yes,
So I'll ask Cody if they sent it, I'm sure they did, but
well, regardless,
Yeah.
we should
Still send them.
thank them
absolutely,
ourselves.
yeah, it was incredibly generous.
Yeah, where we were responsible for the fire. department.
Yeah, they said, they felt that they should do that for the fire department, because they,
Goosebumps.
I have to say, that
the Legion does support the fire department 100%.
considering how tough it is for the
For the
legions
Legions,
these days.
yeah. I mean,
I would
considering
say
we're the only
it's
Legion
pretty
that's actually
tough.
running, that's,
There's so few of them.
yeah, you know.
Yeah, you gotta wonder, a great big building and I guess we should just kind of killing time till Geraldine. Well,
Yeah, no, it's
alive.
incredibly generous of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, I have to say that I didn't realize. that.
Bingo.
Cody told you. but
Yeah.
Maybe
Bingo
they
brings
didn't
in a
want.
lot of money.
I'm sorry?
The bingo brings in quite a bit of money.
Yes.
Oh, they still do well.
Yeah.
don't they?
Yeah, we had,
Supporting that.
We should go to bingo one day.
Oh,
yeah, me.
The whole commission should go
I
one.
won 375 last night.
I never really was into.
I never, I don't.
Yeah.
It's impressive to me that people who are in the bingo.
Yeah, I love it.
Going with,
Yeah.
with like an old boyfriend's mom who was really, really into it. And I have my two little squares and she's got people. with
15 cards in front
all
of
these
her.
cards and they're telling me what I missed. It's just-
Yeah.
Wow.
We should go as a village commission one night. Be supportive.
Well, now,
Deborah Bond says
Oh,
it's
I
like
know.
watching paint dry.
yeah,
She
Well-
wins every time.
Fun.
She won last night, she won Monday night.
and Donald Levy died, so
Yeah.
there's half,
One-
I don't know if they were still going
Yeah, they were
anymore.
still coming right up until
He was the guy from New Rock that died.
one of the Bobs.
One of the Bobsey twins, we always called him, and his brother,
With the
Um,
beard?
Ronald,
Yeah,
Ronald,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
Oh, I
Donald
didn't know
passed
he
away.
died.
Yeah.
he just passed away.
Right up until I bet you October, November, they were still coming.
They were still coming, really.
And they
And
were,
Louise, of course, has been dead
Yeah.
for many years, she always went.
but they were using walkers.
Any further information on line 5150?
Education. I did not.
Okay.
That's a big number.
Yeah.
Well over budget, that's
A
for
couple
sure.
thousand over.
Mm.
The training. The reason there's an asterisk, well, actually, you don't see it on yours, but there's an asterisk against 5120 and 5040, so training and medical supplies. That there's some items that were purchased for medical supplies that they put the wrong number on and it went into training, about $1,000 roughly. So that'll come out of that and into medical, but training is still really under budget this year and
Yes.
will continue to be.
Just to, they didn't make a mistake.
Oh. It's very kind of you to
It-
Oh,
fall on your
Deborah
sword.
mentioned me.
So, yeah,
So what happens with training? Do we
Oh, it
end
comes
up better
down.
off?
it
Yeah.
comes down another 1,000 and it goes on to the medical supplies.
It's ongoing.
But
Yeah, and those
one
are,
assumes that they're going to adjust their training budget to reality base.
this, it would have been reality based, but they were able to. There was I think it was extraction. Yeah, they were able to do it a little differently than they normally do, and because they had. A problem with that supplier and had to relieve them of their
Duty.
contract. Yes. So they had to handle that a little differently this year. I can't recall what we put in for next year. It's probably the same. Yeah, vehicle fuel, that will definitely be over, because we all know the fuel's been higher this year. And then item number 4, or note number 4, I should say. The new vehicle insurance policy for the committee is higher than previously. Because they have more vehicles. And I believe they're still gonna be purchasing some PPE, so there's still lots in that item.
That one's good, yeah.
Yeah, and vehicle repairs and maintenance. This one is. This includes the insurance deductible for repairs to the 531.
Sorry, where are you?
Sorry, item 5310.
27.
Page 20, oh, she's going by.
I'm going by the notes, I'm sorry.
The notes.
Oh, sorry.
Better correct deductible before Nancy sees that.
Yeah, so that's the, so that includes the insurance deductible for repairs. You didn't see this, but in last month's, that was quite a lot higher because it had the whole amount of the repair in it. But then when we got the refund from insurance, it went and took it back down again.
So that's a one and
What's the
done.
Actual refund.
What's that?
What was the actual refund?
It was around 58, around 58,000.
So the 5310 number. Actual is actual.
That's correct. Yeah, so that has whatever repairs they had done previously and the deductible for the repairs to the 531 from the floods.
And going up to 5105 and 5110. Pages and radio upgrades. That's just because the increase in membership and increase in costs.
Correct, and they won't, they actually won't need the pager budget next year. They've got everything they need now. Not that that helps you very much. What else is in here? Fire station insurance again, so that's a big ding, but that was due to actually working with the fire department to properly value what was in the building.
Yes, that's
We
what
looked
I
at-
thought.
We looked at the breakdown and I sent it to them to have a look at and comment on, and they said, scratch it all up. And he's like, no, 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 no. So, and if something were to happen to that, we want to make sure they're properly covered. So
Oh,
that
yeah.
has gone up quite a lot, but it's
Never got
It's
changed
realistic.
over the last 15 years.
probably,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
so
funny.
that's more realistic. Okay, and then.
Capital Fire 51 tanker. Um,
The vehicle refit,
sorry, I don't see a note explaining what that is. 5087.
5087. That is the, that was, sorry, I can't talk. That was some work that was done on the new truck that I believe they had budgeted the previous year but hadn't used, but then the work got done this year. I think I have that note in a previous version. I'll have to go back and look. I think that's what it was.
511's the new truck, the new pickup truck, is it?
Yeah, and the 511 is the
Yeah.
which is, should be back soon. It's up in Ontario.
It's still decent leftover money. Right?
Yeah.
So that's that.
What number 8? Oh, that's reserve deposit, yeah.
Yeah, again, that will, actually, that will take place when we do all
Should
the,
I say, are we gonna have?
when we do all the account transfers at the end of the month. Any other questions about fire?
There was something there about the fireboat tax amount. Which is, what, Hancock and those guys pay that, but there is no fireboat. How come that's still being taxed?
Well, that was, the taxation happens separate from. So they've been looking into, it's a bit of a long story, but they've been looking into possibilities for replacing it. But what they've realized is they really need some direction from municipal council about what is actually expected for that tax money, so that they know, are we looking at something smaller than we had, or are we looking to try to replace what we had? So they're working on a report. I believe. I think the Jim is working on it to go to municipal council to get some direction about what they're meant to do with that money.
I was gonna say, meanwhile, it just sits there, does it? I mean,
Yeah, well,
they
they
lose it on their taxes, but what
Yeah.
happens to it?
Well, they have been deploying the secondary vote a
Oh.
lot more than they
That makes
normally
sense.
would, because they still have to have something. So it's not that things are not getting done. It's
No,
just-
I mean, they should be covered for that tax money.
Yeah.
Somebody should be covered.
I
Yeah.
think wasn't Mahone Bay covering anyway their services, they had an agreement.
Yeah,
I
they
believe,
had
so.
some, they've been doing a bit of work with other fire departments as well.
Okay, we've got 7.3 and 7.4.
Fire service. Oh, that's the bylaws?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
7 that's a little bit, I just have a copy of those on for information, but given that we are no longer doing like really a fire department report, we just have a spot there for the committee reports to be done. The only thing I had to add to that was, again, just a reiteration of their annual public meeting on the 7th, on February 15th. I could read the deputy chief's report to the committee if you like.
Are you
If
interested?
we'd like a summary.
Yeah.
I'll take a batch.
Yeah, at this point, until they're completely
Yeah,
independent,
exactly.
I would say.
All right.
Well, you're there anyway.
Yeah, so.
So if they're doing something really weird, I'm sure they will come to us
Or
and say,
interest.
yeah.
As thankfully, or not thankfully, most of the callouts were medical rather than motor vehicle accidents or structure accidents.
No, we won't get those anymore, will we? I so forward.
Well, yes,
Well,
you
you get
will.
them by email.
Yeah, well, that's fine. That's all we ever.
Yeah, you'll get a report
Yeah.
from me or.
Yeah, it was just interesting how much it was medical and how much it was actual fire
Yeah.
and car accidents and things like that. It's just a personal interest. Yeah,
Because we all want our boys and girls to be safe.
well, exactly. And you want them to know you can get
Given
them.
the spread of services they provide, it's.
Oh, yeah, no, I know. I wasn't questioning.
Yeah.
It's just that I can't believe there's the amount of medical.
I know.
I'd like a daily report because people always think I know. What happened? Where were they going? Where are those happened? The idea, I gotta call Gloria.
Everybody asks me, right?
You probably know, I don't know. I'm like, what do you think? They call me every time.
We get the page,
Start
we get the
text
page
Gloria.
on the pager,
Oh,
and then
right.
we get it on our phones, right?
Oh, is Danny
So
still
now we know,
active?
now we know to contact you when we need local gossip on the fire department.
Well, there's a guy on
Is
Facebook.
there an update on the accessibility advisory committee?
The accessibility committee took off over Christmas. However, we do have a training session scheduled for February the 3rd. And then we'll be back on our monthly meetings in February, I believe it's the 12th.
So that's you, Jeremy. Thank you. Now, we're moving on to the draft amended tax exemption for nonprofit organizations bylaw. Hi there.
Yeah, so just to throw a spanner in the works, we have two options this evening. We can proceed with second reading and or passage of the amendment that I presented in December. But I've also provided an alternate version too, which is incorporating some of the feedback from Geraldine to which pulled the list of organizations into an appendix and provided an application form so that if other groups wish to get involved. So if we would prefer to go that direction, we could give that first reading and then we would bring it back next.
Bless you, Mother.
Yes, may I have a motion, please, to go to draft amendment version 2,
May
unless
I-
there are any
I like it.
objections.
No, that's a move and a
I
second.
would love to
Okay.
move that.
I
Go
was
ahead,
glad to see.
Geraldine,
that.
and move it.
Go ahead, Oh, yes, I think she sort of did.
I so move that we go with
Number
number
two.
2 in schedule 8.1-2.
Thank you very much. Second. Thank you, Laura. All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Sorry.
Well, that was easy.
So does that mean number one is now off the
It's now
table?
off the table.
Yeah,
It,
and we go back to the first reading
or,
of option 2.
The verbiage is the same on both of them, as near as I can
In
tell,
the body,
except for having
yes.
separated out the
Yeah.
list.
Exactly.
Now, I had a question, and that is, these have to be applied for yearly, if I'm not mistaken.
annually, yes.
Was that not correct?
I thought it was standing.
It's standing.
Oh, okay, well, no, that's reasonable, but we could modify the percentage if we felt like it.
I don't know. We would have to give notice
Yeah.
if we were reconsidering the percentage.
So to change what's in the appendix would require the same process as to update the bylaw. I wrote that actually in this second version, I put that right in the bylaw.
Yeah, I
to make
saw
sure
that.
That was clear.
But somewhere I thought we had to rule on this every year.
No, only if we
I think-
change the percentage of the.
Not the bylaw itself, but who gets it and who doesn't.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure
One
we
has
have
to
a vote.
apply for it, and
Ah.
once one applies
Then
for it,
we look at
And
it.
you've
you
got
then
know.
it's either accepted, rejected, or adjusted.
But once they get on the list, does that mean they're forever on the list or? it can-
Unless
And-
the use of the property changes.
So there is, we're kind of hooked with that. I thought we could, every year we would have the option to look at that again, but apparently that's not true. As far as who's on the event.
But you can, the commission can determine they wanna reopen the list whenever you. want.
Yeah, no, I don't know why, but I had it in my mind that we had said these things have to be applied for year.
The low income tax relief, we have to update that
Oh,
policy
maybe
every
that's the
year.
one. I'm thinking
So that
about,
may
yeah,
be,
okay.
that may be what you're thinking.
So once you get on the list, on Appendix A,
Mhm.
you're on for life, basically, unless something
As
changes.
long as you're in that property and.
And
As-
you
as
meet
a
all the
nonprofit.
criteria. Yeah, okay, yeah, I can.
Great, thank you.
So we'll proceed with first reading today or next meeting.
First reading, you've already
We
passed.
motioned it.
Okay. So second reading will be next meeting, so I'll have to put another ad out.
Okay.
But I should have said this as part of the preamble, I didn't hear any feedback from the public. About the bylaw amendment.
How many readings before we can say it's a done deal?
Two.
Just two?
All right, and then we have the bylaws for the Chester Fire Business Committee for information. It's standard registered joint stocks, boilerplate. bylaw.
I think one question, and I could have missed it, but I read it several times. I did not read any provision for appointment of members. I
That's in
mean, we
the,
all know how they're appointed, but I didn't read anything in here that said, we appoint three,
We don't,
OPC appoints.
that's in the agreement. So,
So it doesn't,
it doesn't need to be in the bylaws, Sam
I-
drafted those as well, so I asked the same question.
Yeah, I
Of
don't
how
feel
much of the
comfortable about that.
agreement needed to be in the bylaws, but it's.
Think
Your
we have bylaws.
membership is in
Yeah,
a body's bylaws.
the membership appointment definitely, needs to
But
be-
this-
in my mind, needs to be. in
This is
bylaws.
not a society per se. This is a
Joint
committee,
stocks.
a joint committee of council and commission under section 60 and 61 of the Municipal Government Act.
Oh, so it's not under joint stocks.
No, but
No.
they are
is.
registered with joint stocks.
But they're a
as a body
special,
corporate.
special municipal
And there
under
is-
mega act, I think.
So
They
you
they basically got it
specifically-
covered in item 4 on the first page, that members of the committee. Meaning those persons duly appointed by the incorporated bodies pursuant to the incorporating agreement.
Yeah, I saw that, I'm not gonna make any fuss about it, but it just kind of bothered me slightly that there wasn't a definition in there.
That's good.
But the rest of it is all the
I've got
same
another,
old
I've
stuff.
got
Yeah.
another tag here, I don't know why.
Well, I'll give you 30 seconds to find the tag.
41.
Moving on.
Apparently, it's not important enough for me to have written myself a note.
Okay. Heather, tourism Nova Scotia winter digital marketing.
Yeah, very quickly, I had mentioned to you before that there was another campaign coming from Tourism Nova Scotia that we partner with. But again, doesn't require any financial commitment from us. It was just a bit of consulting with them for imagery and text. And that was with some of the membership of the Merchants Association. So this is just here for information. The ads are scheduled to be in market as of Monday through to February 29th.
Great, thank you.
Does this cost free for us?
It's cost free for
Oh,
us.
well.
Yeah.
Better go.
And cost-free work
So
for.
it's,
It looks pretty nice, you
Yeah,
know.
they're beautiful.
I think it's great.
Is this at the
The
small?
pictures look nice and the models look
Right.
nice.
What's that?
It's all very
It's free down.
upscale looking.
Oh, it's
There
right there.
is no.
Not sure.
No, it's not.
I wondered why that little camera was on the agenda.
It's always
I
there.
skipped over the commissioners roundtable. Laura, do you have anything?
I was on the radio today and I was talking about the Memory Cafe,
Yay.
and that was started last month. That is a dementia cafe. There's now 9 of them in Nova Scotia. And people, caregivers and their loved ones can go to, typically it's a cafe. This one actually took place at the OHC community room,
Oh, these are-
which was a bit difficult because they had mostly folks from Shoreham for this initial one with the wheelchairs and the elevator.
Yeah.
It was a little crowded. So they're looking for a new site, but people come between 2 and 4. Jody Conrad from Department of Rec is fantastic. He's the one who put me onto that. Cynthia, Cynthia Myers,
Yeah.
she's one of the facilitators. They do music, they have art, they have food, warm beverages. And great turnout. So it's kind of nice because they want to make the community welcome for all people.
Perfect. A better facility for them might be St. Stephen's.
They
Because
they're working
Yeah.
on it. It has to be accessible and all that, so they're working on it.
Yeah, good.
The
radio
next 2
program,
are
too.
on, were yesterday they had one. They did it virtually for the whole province.
Yeah.
Because potential weather and seniors. And so if you came to the first meeting, you were given clay. And Elizabeth Surcom, who's a sculptor, a professional sculptor in the
Yeah.
valley, led the class with
Cool.
all people across the province, and they did something with her clay.
Yeah.
All right, that's my story, and I'm skipping to it.
Yeah,
That's great.
good job, Laura.
Well, I'm surprised that you didn't mention the Alcaro family.
Oh,
Citizenship.
yeah, I don't have a lot to do with them, to be honest, not that was before me, but they're all becoming citizens
Yeah.
very soon, and it's gonna be.
Yes.
I sent in that I'll be going, I assume most of us will probably make it.
This is at the Chester Playhouse on Wednesday, January 24th at 1 p.m.
Family with all the kids, yeah.
I thought it was St. Steve. I'm glad you said that.
Chester Playhouse.
Change my calendar here.
Yes. But they say, please arrive by 1 p.m. to settle before the,
Yeah.
settle yourselves before the 1:15 start. And there is, a request from Julia Creighton to, register, with the Playhouse. I can
Yeah,
send
I
you
saw
the
that.
link
Yeah.
to that if you're interested in attending this citizenship ceremony.
So is this for just the one family or are there
Well, they have
multiple?
One family, but they have,
4 kids.
they have 8 kids. I
All
think
the,
8 is on the way, but 2 were born here, 2 were 3, so they're already.
so all of them are going for citizenship at the same time?
Yep.
Hmm.
I think it would be lovely.
I think it's very special, certainly.
I was blessed to work with them quite a bit, because I work with growing friends serving.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and the kids are just adorable. Mom,
Now, this is Amina's daughter and son-in-law.
No, Al Cairo's
No, that's
another
the other-
family, with all the,
That's the other set.
They were the original bunch that
Yeah,
came with
yeah,
it, not?
yeah.
the Al Ali's. I think the Al Ali's were
Oh,
the
okay.
painter guy.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
I have one more question on a different topic.
All
I
right.
feel like we're going to, I know it's nothing really to do with us. But have you been hearing about people's assessments saying, oh my God,
Yeah.
they've gone up a lot?
Really?
Yeah.
A lot,
A percentage, you know?
30?
I was.
Well, thankfully, we have measures in place to look after those people who need looking after. We may for the next year adjust the income level
Mhm.
required to meet those measures. Or we may not. My personal property tax, was within, I think, 4.1% with the cap.
Yeah, when
You
you,
know,
With the
without the
cap?
cap, it was like 33.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
probably most of us are cat, oh, I mean,
Yeah.
except for Geraldine, but
So,
who lives
Oh, I live in an apartment.
shorthand now, yeah.
But the building may have been.
Yeah.
Taxed, which
Mm.
means my rent will go up.
I have something which may or may not be of interest to you. This book is called Managing in Complexity. How our fears of uncertainty can hurt us and what to do about it. It's written by Sarah Philby. It. who lives
Dave
down the
Archibald's
street.
wife, yeah, Dave
Sister-in-law,
Archibald.
Mary.
Oh, Sarah, no,
is his
Mary
wife.
is his, yeah.
It's extraordinarily interesting. A must read for anybody in a leadership position or a management position. And there will be a copy of this book in the village library. This is tomorrow,
Oh, good.
We have a village hall.
So Val, you mean?
in the village reference library.
Yes,
Yeah.
no, here.
Here.
Oh, I see.
It may not appeal to everybody, but it's very insightful. I'm enjoying every minute of it.
I have first dibs, I'm taking it. The rest of you can. ask.
Okay, I think we've covered all the business of the meeting. Unless there's anything else, I will call for adjournment.
So moved.
Thank you.